Hello, I'm Tim Shepherd, and this video is intended to provide an overview of the MyPAYE AutoM8 functions for payroll automation that are available to MyPAYE Partners. The automation functionality is basically the same for end users, but because the activation process and one or two of the screens are slightly different, there is a separate video for end users. Basically, MyPAYE AutoM8 is designed to provide a tool to automatically perform 8 of the main tasks that are required to be done for a payroll run. So you can set up for each payroll on any employer within your client base to run the automatic enrolment assessment on a particular date. If the creation of AE letters, auto enrolment letters, is part of your functionality on the system, you can set it to create those on the same date or a different date. You can set it to run the payroll on a particular day with a specific pay date. You can make it send reports to your clients using the settings from the reports options on the employer options page. You can make it email payslips to employees on a particular date, and you can make it do your FPS submission on a particular date. And finally, it can post either pension contributions direct to the pension provider, where there is a direct API integration available on the system, or for those providers who still require files to be downloaded and then uploaded into a portal, you can make it send the file to the user so that it can be uploaded later. And where there's an integration with an online accounting system like Xero or Twinfield, the system can be made to post the journal on a particular date. All of these tasks happen once they're set up completely automatically. The payrolls and the auto-enrolment assessments we run nominally around midnight. The sending of reports and pay slips happens around 8 o'clock in the morning, so your client doesn't see emails being sent in the middle of the night. It looks as though you've sent them. And finally, the submission of FPSs, pension contributions and journals happens around 8 o'clock at night, so the client has the full day in order to ask you to make any changes before the automation process kicks in. The automation process always sends out an email telling you either that the particular process has worked, so that for example, the payroll has been run on this particular day, or it sends an email to say that there was a problem with details of what went wrong. And those emails are sent to the user that is nominated as being the automation user. Finally, because a lot of people want the payrolls run on days which are not weekends and bank holidays, you have the option to either leave the dates so they automatically advance by one pay period, or if it falls on a weekend, you can either pull the date earlier or push it back to later so that it will automatically fall on a payday on a weekday. That option is entirely up to you. That works in conjunction with the payroll pay date setting options on the payroll options that we've now added, so that you can define the pay date as being the last Friday in the month or the second Wednesday in the month. And if you wish to, you can still have those dates adjusted so that if the Friday is Easter Friday, for example, a bank holiday, it will pull it forward to the Thursday automatically. For those clients with lots of payrolls, you have the ability to filter what it is you're seeing on the screen. So I can look at only the companies beginning with a B, for example. I can, by default, it only shows the payrolls that are automated. I can make it show me the payrolls that are not automated. And I can also make it show me only the payrolls with errors. If I go to all, you can see here we have one with the payroll where the submit FPS failed, and if I click on that, it shows me that that failed because the user had already submitted the FPS, and therefore the automation came to run it and found the FPS had already been sent. Once you set those up, there's nothing else to do. You just need to watch the emails come in every day confirming that the processes have happened. The subject of the email tells you whether it's been a success or not, and in a large bureau type operation, all you need to do is on a daily basis log in here, show the payrolls with errors, and take whatever action is needed to correct the error, rerun, resubmit, or whatever. We've had this process running now with one of our major users for well over a year, and the main issues that they've had have been FPS submission issues. Typically, the system will not submit an FPS if there is a payment date in the past or the submission date is after the pay date, because in those cases you need to add manually a late reason code for most submissions, and that obviously requires manual intervention. Hence, this user, I suspect, has made a submission in advance because there may have been a P45 created after the previous month's pay date, and that therefore needs to be sent with a late reason code of correction to previous submission when the P45 is sent this month. That's the majority of the functionality for the process. What we have done, though, is made it so that you can determine who of your users are going to be able to A, see that there is automation available, and B, edit those settings. So once you've enabled the system, and I'll come to that in a moment, if you go and look at the user details for a particular user, you will find that once automation has been enabled, there are two additional permissions, one which says the user can view automation settings, and the other one which says that they can edit them. So if you have your clients logging into the system, you can make sure that they can't see any of the automation functionality, so they will never know that there is automation there. And within your own team, you can determine which of your users you want to be able to edit the settings, and which of those you just want to be able to go and view and check. As a partner, the functionality is available to you as part of your standard package. There's no additional charges for using this. To activate it, all you need to do is raise a support call in the MyPAYE support centre for one of your clients, doesn't matter which employer, and we will then enable automation on your partner account, and we will grant that particular user permissions to both view and edit the automation settings. It's then up to you, once that's been done, to determine which of your users you want to be able to see and edit automation settings. We believe this is a major benefit to, particularly to our bureau and accountant partners, because it allows you to automate as much or as little of a payroll as you want to. So if you have a client who regularly changes their payroll information every month, you could still run the entering of data, run the auto assessment, run the actual payroll, send the reports out, but have the automation set up so that if their client hasn't told you by what the nominated date, it'll automatically send the emails out, submit the FPS, post the accounts and post the pension data, so you don't have to remember on payday to actually go back and rerun the emails. The emails that the system sends out and your report emails can be edited, and we can help you with that if you want to change the standard wording to say, if we haven't heard from you by the pay date, close of business, we will automatically make the submissions. So you can use this tool to, on standard payrolls, do some of the tedious work which has to be done after you've had approval. For director payrolls, where normally the pay remains unchanged every month, but you still have to go through the process, you could automate the whole exercise so that the payroll gets run on an appropriate date. Emails are sent to the client getting approval, and then on the pay date, the emails are sent out, the submission is made, and everything happens completely automatically, allowing you to take on more work without having to employ more people. If you have any questions, please raise a support call through the normal support process. We'll be happy to help you, and as I say, it is very easy to activate. Just raise a support call asking us to enable the automation functions, and it should be done that day or the next day. Thank you very much for listening, and thank you for your continued support of MyPAYE.